And then we faced a lot of severe political persecution. And my mother was a widow with 4 young children, and she kept saying that the only country in the world where that she wanted to move to was the United States. So for almost 8 years, she was trying to move us to the United States. Finally, one by one, we started to come over as students. And then when my mother arrived, we applied for political asylum. My family received political asylum. I ended up getting my green card and my citizenship through a different process, but my family received political asylum. So this is a country, you cannot imagine how precious this is. Like, I understand that people who are born in the United States, I mean, they will have their own love. But when you have seen what life can be in a country that has an authoritarian regime where extrajudicial killing happens, there's no court system where you can find justice. And then you look at the United States and you see the court system and Congress and the branches of government, and you say, wow, this is democracy. This is where I want to be, because this is a place where it's based on meritocracy. It's a place where you can actually get an education and get a job and live and thrive. So for so many people, and I don't want to make it a cliche, but this is like a beacon of democracy. And so to see what's going on right now, it's just so painful. And I understand it's painful for everyone to witness it. But imagine folks who are living in an authoritarian regime, and then to see our country moving towards an authoritarian regime, like, it breaks your heart. It just breaks your heart. That's why I'm out there, because I'm protesting, but I'm also trying to protest against what I know it can be, how bad it can be. Melody.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. So you know this fight intimately. You have direct experience with our immigration system and how difficult that can be to navigate. And coming from an authoritarian background, do you see parallels in do you see our court systems holding up currently, or do you see them kind of sliding towards what your home country had?
So I don't want to, I was born in Bangladesh, but this is my home. This is my country. I only have one passport, only one citizenship. I'm an American of Bangladeshi origin. Okay, a couple of things I want to say. For decades, the immigration system was under the Department of Justice, and it was called Immigration and Naturalization Service. Mm-hmm. Okay? After the attacks on September 11th in 2001, the Bush administration started the Department of Homeland Security, and then they created this ICE, Immigration and Customs Enforcement, and which moved ICE, the immigration process, away from the Department of Justice under this new branch. But think about just the way the labels are: Immigration Naturalization Service. It's almost like saying we are going to help folks who wants to live here and work here and contribute to our society, and we will allow them a process by which they can become Americans. Mm. The whole concept of ICE is enforcement, like immigration enforcement. Do you see immigration service, immigration enforcement? It almost has this combative mentality already. And since 2003, it just deteriorated. The whole immigration system has deteriorated. I want people to understand, immigrants are our neighbors. They're our teachers, our classmates, our small business owners. These are our friends, our family members. The way that Donald Trump and Stephen Miller are creating this kind of aura, like immigrants are all here and they're terrible and they're creating a lot of their public safety issues. I'm not saying that there are not some people who have committed crimes, but we have a law and order system that can actually prosecute those folks, remove them from society, convict them, prosecute them, etc. But what we're seeing right now is not about immigration. It is not about law and order. This is like truly Gestapo kind of behavior that's going on.
Right.
So a lot of the folks, they are in this country, like the Venezuelans or the Haitians, like certain groups of people who may have moved to the United States under the temporary protection status of the TPS program, which allows certain group of people, maybe there's some war in their country or some natural disaster. They moved here legally, they're working here legally, they living here legally. And suddenly, with the stroke of a pen, Donald Trump is making them illegal. And then, of course, then he's sending
Ain't
ICE
no
to
one
find those
illegal
folks.
on
They
stolen
might have
land,
been here
yo.
for 5 years,
Get
10
that shit
years
out of here.
working in our farms. They might have been working in the construction companies or the hospitals or the nursing homes. These are places that are critically short of labor, and they depend on the immigrant workers. Suddenly, these folks who were working and paying taxes and legally being here, suddenly they become illegal, and then they're getting grabbed. And now it's beyond that. You saw videos of ICE like randomly stopping cars and asking, or people, pedestrians, and asking them for their paperwork. Show us that you're a citizen. Like, wow. I mean, how many of us carry around documentation on us? So it's become a terrible situation, and American citizens are being killed. So it's not about certain criminals that are being policed. This is really like a authoritarian regime that is just trying to terrorize the folks on the ground. Hi, everyone. Lots of heavy conversation here. It's off the bat, Melody.
But it kind of segues us into the topic for tonight, which is why getting involved in activism and progressive political campaigns is so important. It is so imperative right now. So I wanted to ask you and start this off, what grassroots movements or organizations influenced your platform or campaign the most?
I think it was just my upbringing, because my mother and my family and my mom always said, if you see injustice, try to actively stop it. If you cannot stop it, speak out against it. And if you can't speak out against it, at least in your heart, know that it's wrong. And I saw injustice. I saw injustice in the fact that we don't have universal health care. I mean, it is seriously an injustice. People in the United States are dying because of the because we don't have a universal health care.
Right.
50,000 Americans are dying each year. A very close friend, he suffered a stroke because he couldn't afford the medication. I know other people who are either withholding care, they cannot see a doctor, or they cannot afford their medicine. This is a terrible situation. So that's an injustice.
Right.
And you see the homelessness problem, and that is one face of the housing crisis, that you're literally on the streets. You have no place to go. But another face of homelessness is the fact that you might be couch surfing. You're just going from relative's house to friend's house, maybe sleeping in a guest bedroom or in a couch for a short time. That's another face of homelessness. And there are folks who basically are in very difficult situation. They have a roof over their head, but it's not ideal and they cannot move out. I was talking to an Uber driver the other day, and she said at the moment she has an apartment because she's working as a property manager, another part-time job in addition to her Uber driving. But she used to be in an abusive relationship, but she couldn't leave because she had nowhere to go. So we have a housing crisis. We have a healthcare crisis. Childcare crisis is also there. Melody, you mentioned you have a toddler, and I know Marissa has a little one. I don't know how much you guys are paying in daycare, but I've spoken to folks who cannot find a daycare center with availability. And if they can't afford it. A lot of folks, or folks who can afford it, but it's basically emptying out their paychecks.
Right.
And they feel like they have a decent job, but yet the care is so expensive. So we need universal health care. So, and of course, wages are so low. If a person in the United States works a full-time job, should they be able to afford food, housing, and healthcare? I would say so.
I believe
In the
that,
rich,
yeah.
in the richest country in the world, I mean, if somebody works a full-time job, a 40-hour work week, isn't that the minimum that we can expect? That they should be able to put food on the table, a roof over their head, and see a doctor when they need to. So why do we have this severe problem? Why? It's not a lack of resources. We're not a poor country. It's because too many lawmakers in Congress, too many of them, are answering to their donors and not helping the people of America. That's why I'm running for the US Senate.
And would you say that that is a really good reason why right now is the best time for people to maybe get involved in ways that they never have before, like signing on remotely to oppose or support bills, or joining progressive political campaigns that are currently running against establishment Democrats that want to keep us stuck in the low wages, in the unaffordable housing, and not having access to free healthcare, like healthcare for all? Um,
Absolutely. I mean, everything I see around me, it's heartwarming. It's heartbreaking because you see how much people are suffering, but it's heartwarming to see so many people come out on the weekends and the evenings and during to testify. Marissa was in the State House today. Congratulations, Marissa. I don't. Is Marissa on the call today? Is she
yeah,
here?
she's in here.
Okay. So, anyways, what there's so much energy, there's so much passion, and I'm so excited to see everyone out there because yes, I'm running as a Senate candidate, but there's no way for me to fight the big money. We're talking about people who are profiting from this broken system. They are profiting from the misery of others, whether it's war profiteering or profiting from the fact that we have a broken healthcare system or profiting from the fact that we have low wages, starvation wages. These folks like the status quo.
Right.
Is there an echo? And we are, how can I possibly, fight with these folks? I'm not a millionaire. I don't have a billionaire donor. It's only through all of you, whether it's NH Talk, fantastic group. I'm really, really excited that we have this wonderful community coming together here in New Hampshire. A lot of folks like these independent media are coming out in New Hampshire, let's see, Carter Hammond is one, Marissa, of course, Arya, yourself, Melody. Fantastic. This is really good to see. And then folks on the ground who are like, yeah, you know what? Maybe the system needs to be overhauled. So I'm so honored to be in the company of these wonderful people. And I'm so honored to see so much solidarity and people giving up their free time to fight for justice. It is really heartwarming.
And how much time do people realistically need to give up, do you think, to political campaigns or movements for it to really matter, would you say?
Yeah, so that's the thing. You have to, the way to make it most effective is to really concentrate on the primary and then, of course, on the general. But if you support a candidate, if you find a candidate that resonates with you, that you care about, they're honest, they're unbought, they're going to serve the public, fight like hell to get them elected. Mm-hmm. And then pay attention once they're in office, what they're doing. But you should be able to sit back. But what do we see over and over again? The promises are being made by these centrist Democrats or these moderate Democrats, whatever you want to call them. They get into office, they are worried about their donors, and it takes up a lot of our time making phone calls, telling them how to vote, writing letters, going to their offices. And that is really exhausting and draining. So at the moment, I would say fight like hell to win back the House, win back the Senate, not with any Democrats, with the right Democrats, not just any blue wave. We need a progressive blue wave all the way from one side of the country to the other. Like there are lots of fantastic candidates running for the US Senate, for the US House. Find them and help them. And realize that a US Senator is making decisions for the entire country as well as foreign policy for the entire world. So it doesn't matter which state they're going to represent or which state they're from. People across the United States should be working to help these candidates win.
Right.
Yeah.
And now if people were to get involved with political campaign, what are some roles people don't realize campaigns rely on? Like, let's say if
Yeah.
people are shy and aren't good with phone banking or door knocking, what are some things people can do?
Yeah. So I'm also learning a lot, but let me tell you how you can get involved. One is how to get our names out to the entire state. So I'll just start to tell you about my campaign. There were 2 or 3 polls done, but in every poll, it's showing that almost 80% of people in New Hampshire still don't know enough about me or don't know me at all. So the name recognition across the state was going to be one of the biggest challenges. Of course, donations as well. But let me just talk about name recognition. So how do you get your name out? There is, of course, a multi-million-dollar campaign will send out mailers, they will buy TV ads, and they will have an army of folks helping them get their name out. We don't have that possibility, right? I mean, I depend on small donations of $5 from college students or $20 from people on Social Security. I am honored to have that little bit of money. But even when you add it up, it's like maybe $100,000 that I've raised. Really, that's how a normal campaign should be. So when Chris Pappas is proudly talking about the fact that he has raised $6 million, realize those 6 million are not coming from New Hampshire. You should be worried. You should not be looking at a $6 million campaign and saying, wow, he must be really popular. No, who is he going to support after he gets into Congress? We actually know. We have 7 years of record to see what he does when he is in Congress. The other day I saw a post by him and said, fresh leadership. What fresh leadership? You've been in Congress for 7 years. You're as fresh as moldy bread. I mean, so how can you get involved? There is no way for a grassroots campaign to succeed without folks on the ground. We need your help. If you're an influencer, help us get the message out. If you are able to knock on doors with canvassing, when we start canvassing after the weather warms up, help us. If you can just work from home and volunteer from home, then help us with phone banking. Phone banking is not as scary as people make it out to be. It is like a conversation. For example, you just call, you just say, hi, I'm a volunteer for this campaign. I would like to tell you a little bit about why I'm supporting this candidate. And most of the time, people are really nice. They might say, call me back, it's not a good time or something like that. But really, it's harmless conversations. So don't be afraid. We are doing phone banking on Tuesday nights, and we're going to heard every Tuesday, and we are going to open it up to 3 days, starting from next week, Tuesday night, Thursday night, and Saturday. It's very easy. You just do it from the privacy of your home, and go to my website, which is karishmaforsenate.com. There is I guess I really should make it more simple, because you have to go to the Join Us tab, and then there's a volunteer tab. Maybe I should put a big volunteer tab right on the homepage. Okay,
yeah.
That's it. I'm going to do that, because even to tell people, that's a 3-step process. First, you have to go to the website, and then sign up, and we'll contact you. Tell us what you need. What you're able to do. Phone banking, canvassing, social media support, et cetera, et cetera. Please help us. The other is, of course, donations. Are you able to make a $5 donation, a $20 donation? It doesn't matter. Help us. And also, if you can make just a small donation, maybe you can make it on a monthly basis, like a $20 donation every month. That'll be great. If you're able to afford more, go ahead. And also try to understand what exactly the candidate stands for, what resonates with you. And also make sure that they're not getting money from nefarious sources, because there's a lot of dark money out there, and that dark money controls the candidate and then controls the senator or the representative. So I hope that helps. So volunteer and donation, and find other ways. If you have a platform, help us get the name out that way.
Yeah, because you mentioned how important social media influence is, especially right now, because it's to get the message out. So is that an open invitation for creators to reach out to you about
Yes.
partnering on content? Or great.
Yes, I would love it. I mean, especially realize like it's like a fire hose of information, right? So right now in our small state, we're talking about the potential ICE detention centers coming out of in Merrimack, potentially other places. AI data centers is another potential plan that's going to happen. Folks are, because we're so focused on what's going on with ICE, and rightfully so, that we're missing out on there's a lot of other stuff that's going to happen, which will also wreak havoc either on our environment or on our utility bills or on our ecosystem. And so AI data centers, Kelly Ayotte has talked about bringing AI data centers and how it's going to make jobs. It's not. They're going to be just to put up a warehouse, and then it's going to be filled with these huge machines that are going to guzzle electricity, guzzle water, and it will wreak havoc on our environment. Also, pull so much electricity off our grid that the bill will go up, and we will see our utility bills go up. So it doesn't matter if you're a Republican, Democrat, or Independent. You should not want an AI data center in the state. Let me see. So keep yourself informed, but I need help. So if you are able to tell me something that's happening that I might be missing in the State House, let's make a content and let's talk about it. Something that's happening at the Senate or Congress, something that's Donald Trump is doing. I mean, Donald Trump is now attacking the whole election process. Yeah. He is there's no end to this man's madness. So all hands on deck.
Yeah, it makes it more important that people step up and stand out and get involved.
So if you find like a bill or a resolution or some idea that's happening and you are worried about it and you think you want us to have a position and talk about it, help me by making the content or help me get the information. And so, yes, absolutely. We need all hands on deck right now.
All right, you heard her. All right, Karishma, we're going to transfer over to our Q&A section. So people are asking questions in the chat right now, and I'm going to read them for you. All right, let's see. We are starting with ZZ Brownie. If you had to summarize your campaign to 3 big policy positions, what would they be?
Everyone deserves healthy food, housing, and healthcare.
Yep, that hits home. Next is from Jason Likes Pasta. I'm curious what your thoughts or feelings are on Ayotte and other New Hampshire reps hiding the fact that they're working with the DHS ICE to open a concentration camp in Merrimack.
I am working a lot with the representatives in Merrimack. Representative Wendy Thomas is an amazing person, kind, compassionate, fantastic legislator. And I'm trying to understand how I can help. Of course, just like any other private citizen, I'm out there going to the rallies and talking about it. But we need to stop that detention center. Unfortunately, it's a privately held, it's a property, right? It has a warehouse right now, and it's owned by somebody who lives in Texas. And right now they pay, I think, like $500,000 in property taxes on this space. So this relationship, it looks like DHS or ICE wants to purchase it directly from this landowner from Texas, who apparently is a Trump supporter. And Merrimack residents and other folks across the state are trying to basically find out exactly what's going to happen and try to stop the sale. We do not want a detention center in Merrimack. So follow, let's see, let me try to remember the website, because Wendy Thomas has created a website. I'm going to try to remember Melody, but I think it's ICE out of New Hampshire, something else similar to that. Can I put it in the chat?
Absolutely.
If I go to my chat right now, I might lose NH Talk. But she is, anyways, if you know Wendy Thomas, just reach out to her, DM her. because she is really trying to keep everyone updated about what's going on. And there are, of course, Indivisible's doing a lot of work. Bridge Brigade is doing a lot of work. AFSC, American Friends Service Committee, is doing a lot of work. So there are lots of nonprofits out there that are trying to really support this, try to stop this detention center from forming. And let's all hands on deck also. We cannot have a detention center in Merrimack.
Right. Next up, we have a question from Digital Matt, who says, if there was a bill brought to a vote in the Senate that began a process of expanding the Supreme Court, would you vote for it? What ways would you approach fixing our corrupt and, in my opinion, illegally captured Supreme Court? Also, have you considered reaching out to the Majority Report for an interview? I know a few of us New Hampshire talkers are listening, and the audience is so ready to donate to campaigns like yours from around the country. Great
Thank
question.
you so much. Great question. So federal judges have a very strong ethics rules that they have to adhere to. Supreme Court justices do not have to adhere to that kind of strict ethical standards. That's what we have to focus on. Why are they exempt? Why are the Supremes exempt? They should not be exempt from ethical standards that lower court judges have to adhere to. So let's make sure that Supreme Court justices have to adhere to high ethical standards, because you might pack it, but the problem is not getting resolved. It's like kind of bandaging where it's like a leg fracture. It does not require just a Band-Aid or a bandage. We have to fix that fracture. So packing alone is not going to do it. So I would rather see our energy and our focus more on the ethics than on just packing and yet not fixing the problem. And then there was a second part of the question.
Yeah, I can reread that. Have you considered reaching out to the Majority Report
yes.
for an interview?
Do you guys know about, if you have connections, help us get on Majority Report. I have not reached out to them, and I would, yes, absolutely. I would love to go on Majority Report. So please, this is where all hands on deck. Whatever connections you have, please help us.
So that's our call to action tonight. Let's get Karishma on the Majority Report. Come on, guys. Go team, go. All right, our next question is from Aria, who said, are you willing to support not only the abolishment of ICE, but the prosecution of those who violated human and civil rights? Thanks, Karishma.
Hi, Aria. If anybody in the United States breaks a law, whether it's a civil law or a criminal law, they should absolutely be prosecuted regardless of their position, right? We cannot keep giving amnesty to folks. We need to absolutely prosecute folks. And that goes for any ICE agents who are breaking the law, any people like Chrissy Noem, who might be circumventing the law and breaking the law or giving illegal orders, or even up to the president. And this is, of course, in the ICE movement, but also let's look at another story that's going on right now, which has been going on for a decade or more, which is the Epstein files. There are so many people involved with that pedophile. How is that possible? So remember, like in the 2020 elections, or was it even in 2016, we kept hearing there's a cabal of pedophiles, and you're like, what are they talking about? Are they crazy? I guess there was a cabal of pedophiles.
Yeah.
My God. I mean, how crazy was this? They were taking these young children. They were raping these young children. I mean, how disgusting are these people? And what do they think? Because they're all of the ones who can possibly prosecute them. They're all part of the same system, so it doesn't matter.
It's corrupt through and through.
It's so corrupt.
Yeah.
And names are coming out. There was the last big dump of files came out on Friday. We saw lots of names, including names from people in New Hampshire. We need to hold them accountable. Just because you have had some Senate seat or representative seat or some other position, or you are a millionaire or billionaire, it doesn't matter. If you committed a crime, You need to be investigated, prosecuted, convicted, and you should be in jail if we find you guilty. No more sugarcoating just because somebody has had some position of power or some money and some business. No, everyone, nobody is above the law. Everybody should be held accountable for their actions.
Couldn't agree more. Our next question is from Bridget, who's asking, what do you think is the biggest issue facing our public education systems?
My God, this is another problem. So, for example, the healthcare, of course, we talked about it. We are just not supporting a universal healthcare. We're not putting enough money into helping folks. Similarly, public education is under attack. And the way they are, a lot of folks who are against public education, the way they're attacking it is by withholding the money, right? So you keep every single year, you keep cutting the budget. Every single year, you withhold the money. And then you see the system is really having a hard time surviving or providing quality care. And then, of course, the critics will be like, see, I told you, the public education system doesn't work. Look, the teachers are not doing a good job because you're underfunding it. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, basically. So yes, public education we owe the next generation a good education, and we owe them the ability to decide what they want to do, if they want to go into the trades, community colleges, a four-year college. They are our next generation. We're going to leave the world to them. We want them to be the best version of themselves. Whatever they want to be. They want to be an artist, a police officer, an engineer, whatever they want to be. We should give them the opportunity through the public education system. But I'm assuming that question was more geared towards K through 12. I personally think this is part of my platform that we actually need universal childcare. So public education should start earlier. And public education should be not just up to grade 12, but consider trade schools, community colleges, and public universities, depending on whatever area a person wants to go to. So yes, public education needs to be well funded. I don't want to hear that teachers are using their own money to buy school supplies. That's crazy.
It's so sad. And I mean, my son started kindergarten this year, and I felt so bad when she gave us the class list of what she needed. I just felt like being compelled to buy extra of everything. It's like these guys have to go through millions of tissues a year. All right, so next up our question, we have another one from ZC Brownie who says, if you can speak about it, are you actively seeking endorsements from progressive activists, politicians, or organizations, perhaps Bernie Sanders?
So I have not contacted Bernie directly, but if you have any contacts, please go ahead. That'll be great, because it really needs to be coming from the people, right? The other thing is, yes, I have already been endorsed by Peace Action, the National Peace Action, as well as the chapter here in New Hampshire. I've been endorsed by Citizens Against APAC Corruption, which is that track APAC group. I've also been endorsed by Progressive Victory. And there are a few other progressive organizations that I've reached out, or I've filled out the questionnaire, or I've had an interview. And so that's in the works. Because we have a late primary in September, a lot of these folks are focusing on the ones that are coming up right now. So I think like primaries, some of them are as early as February and March. So we keep being told, you know, you guys have more time. Of course, as a grassroots campaign, you're like, the sooner the better. So you asked about politicians and progressive groups, yes. But there might be other progressive groups that you are affiliated with. Please help us reach out to them. Yeah.
All right. Next up, we have from Try This at Home. Karishma, are you wanting to come speak to groups at this time, and what size groups would feel good?
Oh, that's a great question. And Melody, that goes back to your original question, how people can help. And I completely forgot about this. So yes, thank you very much. So the way I'm reaching folks is through almost every single town in New Hampshire. So we have 221 towns and 13 cities. Almost every single one of these has a Democratic town committee or city committee or county committee. I'm trying to go to as many of these events as possible. They meet like once a month. Most of them are, they have to be neutral in a contested primary and allow all candidates to come and meet with them. So this is something that I'm doing. But I'm also going to clubs that might be like a Rotary Club or a book club. Yesterday, I was at Dartmouth because the Medical Law and Ethics Society invited me to give a talk there. So yes, if you are affiliated with any group and you are able to invite me to talk to your folks or just meet and greet or do a listening session, absolutely. This is really essential. The other is if you can do a house party, that'll be great. And a house party doesn't have to be in your house. It can be in a diner. And when the weather is better, we can, or warmer, it's great now. Warmer, we can meet in the park. So it can be basically gathering up your friends and family, maybe bring 20, 25 people together and we can talk. We're organizing our own town halls and our own listening sessions. So we had 2 or 3 in the last few months. We are trying to ramp it up a little bit more. And there are lots of volunteers trying to organize those. They're calling like public libraries, they're calling small bookstores and trying to find spaces across the state. We would love to have your support. If you know of a space and that's for free or very minimal amount of money, that'd be great. But the best way you can help us is to actually bring people to that location on that day. So yes, there are, I want to meet with groups, so please help me.
Thank you, Karishma. All right, next up we have from Kayla. What are your thoughts about passing a bill that limits what type of ICE agents are able to hold after this show is over, like police officers, EMTs, other positions of authority?
Oh, what they can transition to? Is that what the question is?
I believe that's what they're asking, yes.
So if the police forces have their own criteria and their own application systems. So and these are robust, comprehensive application process. So I will I don't have to necessarily get involved in that, right? So I would say if they do need to do a background check, if they want to see any kind of prior conviction or any kind of questionable past issues, this is for the police force or other EMT services, et cetera, to check. Yeah, so I think.
Okay.
But as far as, yeah, I guess that would be, I'm not sure.
And then, sorry.
And I was just trying to remember the question to make sure that I answered it, but I believe that's the answer to the question, right? So basically you're just worried whether folks who may have committed a crime or may have some questionable past, if they're going to be in public service positions or public safety positions. Yes, and those organizations will, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So our next question, just to move it along, so we got a lot of people in the chat, it looks like from Carter. Have you been able to form a more comprehensive position on prediction markets, Kalshi, Polymarket, and if so, where do you stand?
Oh, Polymarket, Jesus, crazy. I don't have a position. I just find it crazy. I can't believe that even exists. Sometimes you think you're listening to fiction. But Carter, if you are able to provide some more information, that would be great, because it's yeah. I just learned about it recently and it's really weird.
All right, so we have a question from Diamond Fist, and it looks like it's similar to a few other questions that we've had. Have you considered contacting Graham Plattner's campaign in Maine for joint events or organizing? I saw JB Pritzker endorsed Pappas. We must beat Pappas to endorsements.
So, yeah, the centrists are taking care of each other, right? So, I have not reached out to Plattner. He's doing great. Help us also build momentum. I mean, it's very, very difficult So he's doing great, but he had a group of folks who had a lot of money come in and support him. So I can sometimes think of him as like a boy band, and we're like a garage band. So New Hampshire, we need to work on this. There's no other person coming in to save us. So that's the other thing I think I realize more and more as I'm doing this. We don't necessarily have to look at Bernie Sanders or a progressive group or other notable names or famous names to come and save us. We have to make our own path. New Hampshire has not been on folks' radars for decades because look what has happened. It's been like this family or that family, this family, the same names over and over again for 50 years. Just maybe the characters were changing. We cannot have this anymore. We cannot have political dynasties. That is the idea behind a political dynasty is undemocratic. And all this inbreeding and insulation is creating what? Like these are folks who just care about themselves, how to enrich themselves and how to enrich their donors. We should be based on meritocracy, about public service, not about millionaires, millionaire candidates backed by billionaire donors. That is not exactly what public service should be about. I mean, you should not go to Congress and make money and become a millionaire. I mean, that alone is so wrong. And we see this over and over again in both the Democratic Party as well as the Republican Party. Let's break that cycle. In New Hampshire, let's look at folks who are honest, who are unbought, and help get them elected. We are able to do this right here in New Hampshire, like NH Talk, what Arya's doing, or Marissa, or Melody, or Carter, and others, Gracie is doing. We don't have to look for outside sources. We can create our own movement and we can move it forward. We are a small state and we are geographically small, population-wise, we're small. A lot of us know each other. I keep seeing like the same several thousand people at various events. So we should be able to stand on our own. Just because the others are not involved in our campaigns, so what? Sure, Bernie's not involved in my campaign, but Marissa is.
Yeah.
Hey, Arya is, Melody is. These are powerful voices, and these are New Hampshire voices. So let's actually, I want us to realize that NH Talk being on my side is unbelievable. This is a powerful group. So we don't have to look outside. What is it, like 400 of people are now part of NH Talk? That's a powerful group of progressives. 400 people. My God, do you realize how much wealth of knowledge and opportunity there is just in NH Talk? And this is just one group. Let's actually really empower each other. Let's understand how we can help and let's move it forward. We have until September to win the primary. So let's get it done.
Absolutely. Identifying our skill sets and where we can best plug in it's going to change things. It's absolutely going to change things. All right. So it looks like we have some lighter questions. What is your favorite coffee shop in Exeter?
If I want quiet, I go to Inkwell. If I want lunch, I go to Me and Ollie's. And if I want to just move away from downtown, then the name changed, but it's the one next to the train station. It's like a tiny little coffee shop, but it has great coffee. But I forget what they're called now. So yeah.
Have to check it out. Another lighter question. Do you have a favorite top 3 bands or musicians?
Foo Fighters, I really like them. Let's see. Queen, fantastic. And what's the other band? Bruce Springsteen, but it's because my husband listens to him a lot. So Bruce Springsteen is always playing in our house. But of the 3, Foo Fighters for sure. That's my favorite.
I also had a lighthearted question. Did you have a favorite class or lecture series when you were in undergrad, and why?
Oh, that is interesting. My daughter asked me that recently. So my major was neuroscience. So of course, that's very technical. But I took an English course in the Iliad and the Odyssey. Homer's Iliad and the Odyssey, and it was one of my favorite classes. It might have been because of the material, but I think it was because of the teacher. It was just a fantastic course. So I still remember the Iliad and the Odyssey because my daughter was talking about it the other day and asking me about it. Yeah.
Wonderful. Thank you for answering. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Favorite kind of pasta?
Gnocchi sometimes, ravioli, tortellini. Oh, but I only had to pick one, right?
It's hard to choose just one.
I love stuffed pasta. Tortellini and ravioli, yes. Those. Yeah.
All right, and I think there was another question from Carter that I accidentally missed. I'm wondering if Karishma is willing to work on / introduce legislation to limit this new gambling racket.
Oh, wait. Carter, that is not a lot on my radar because Carter also asked about earlier another question, right? Carter, you have to tell me more about this. I am so, my days are gone with ICE rallies, just trying to, work with the folks down in Merrimack, trying to stop fascism, trying to educate folks about Epstein files. Like, it's really gross to read these material and understand the pain behind it. Like, every one of these letters, who was at the other end? What child was at the other end? It's really, really difficult. So Carter, you have to help me out. I'm sorry. It's not on my radar, but it should be on my radar, so help me out.
All right, Carter, you got some work to do.
Yes, that's the thing, right? Like, this is the wealth of knowledge and experiences and interests. I get such interesting emails, like, you have to think about this, or what is your position? I'm like, wow, this is a topic that I haven't thought about, but let me educate myself, let me understand it. So thank you.
I think he actually just started a group chat so the whole community can kind of get educated and talk more about this. So this is great, and this is what New Hampshire Talk is all about. We love this.
Yes.
Another coffee question. What is your coffee order?
Latte with 2% milk, hot, never cold.
Never cold?
Even in a summer, hot summer day, 90 degrees, they'll be like, cold? No cold. Coffee is hot. Sorry, guys.
You know what?
I'm sorry, no flavor.
No flavor at all.
No.
All right. We have a question from Ken's. What is your comfort TV show?
It might be because it's always on. Triple D, diners, drive-ins, and dives. It just seems to be always on when I sit down and veg out. And it's just so great because you don't have to think. It's like you can come into the middle of the episode and it'll go. So, but if I had to pick and I had the time to start, Superstores. Do you guys remember that show? It was like Superstores, kind of like a box store. Did anyone watch Superstores? Not stores. Superstore. Okay, good. That is just so funny. And Mateo, the character Mateo, is still one of my favorite characters. Yes. You guys have to watch Superstore. It's like I don't think it's on Netflix, but it's definitely on Peacock. So, but only the first few seasons. Afterwards, it kind of went down.
All right. Does anybody have any questions? We have about 5 minutes left.
I can tell you guys a little bit about what it's like to run a grassroots campaign.
We would love to hear that. We would love to hear that.
Yeah, because I want all of you to feel empowered that if you see a public service position, I want you to consider running for it. Why should it only be certain names from certain families with certain amount of money? Not cool. Absolutely not cool. So, but yes, it is very, very difficult. The whole system is geared towards millionaires backed by billionaires. Every step is so expensive. So, for example, the New Hampshire Democratic Party has the voter database for the whole state. If you want to run in one of the congressional districts, they will charge you $35,000 to access that database. To get for the whole state, they'll charge you $75,000. $75,000. That's what they're going to asking me to give. They were asking also millionaire Pappas to give the same. For him, $75,000 is nothing. For me, it's, oh my God, that's impossible. The system makes sure you're going to be handicapped from the very beginning. Okay. Mailers, for example, if any of you are on Pappas's mailing list, you most probably are getting a mailer every week or every other week. Those are very, very expensive. I priced out, I think, like a simple postcard, the cheapest postcard for 5,000, like to send out to 5,000 people will cost me, say, $3,500. Wow, that's a lot of money. How am I going to pay for that? So of course, I have no mailers. I haven't even looked at TV ads. Even to do Facebook ads, it costs you several $1,000s. I don't have that much money. So the system is geared towards the wealthy or the wealth of people who are getting a lot of money. But let me give you an idea how easily Chris Pappas makes money. So the group from the United Nations, they're called UNRWA, that are in charge of humanitarian aid to Gaza. And they were defunded. Twice in 2024, there was an opportunity to start funding again. Both times, Chris Pappas voted against it because he gets a lot of money from AIPAC, AIPAC, and they're against UNRWA. Both times Chris Pappas voted to defund UNRWA. For each of his votes, approximately around the time of his vote, he got $110,000 from AIPAC, and around the time of the second vote, he got $115,000 from AIPAC. So if you want to know how much you need to spend to get Chris Pappas to vote on a bill, it's about $110,000, $115,000. So one vote, he gets that much money. He can easily buy the voter database, which he already has access to anyways. The system is geared towards the rich, helping the rich, and taking away from us. From public education, from our infrastructure, from our healthcare, from our childcare, keeping us at low wages. The system is working exactly as designed because of people like Chris Pappas. I can't fight the system alone. I can't. I am putting myself out there. I'm hearing such racist comments, such brutal comments. I mean, sometimes my children get very sad to see some of the things that people say about me. I'm just a mom. My heart was breaking to see the people suffering in the United States. This is not a vanity project. I gave up my career. I'm doing this 7 days a week, traveling across the state, trying to meet folks. Why am I being targeted with racism, with really disgusting comments? Why? I'm not taking money from any nefarious sources. I'm not voting against starving children. Voting to starve children like Chris Pappas. Why are you targeting me? So anyways, who are the front runners? Right now, Sununu is the front runner in the Republican side for the US Senate. And he's in the Epstein files. I'll leave it at that. And Chris Pappas is the front runner in the Democratic Party. And he has voted repeatedly to send weapons of mass destruction to Israel using our taxpayer dollars, and he has also voted to defund UNRWA in the middle of a famine. Basically, he voted to starve children. It's New Hampshire's choice. If this is the type of people you want, then this is the type of people we will get. You cannot complain later that, oh my God, why are these people don't care about us? Why do we still not have a universal health care plan? Why is public education still underfunded? Because these are the types of people we keep sending to Congress. I hope all of us will please help find a candidate that's honest, unbought, will work for the people, and fight like hell to get them to Congress. So thank you guys. Thank you. Check out my website. It's www.karishmaforsenate.com. Help me on social media. Tell people about me. Follow me. Repost. Like. Invite me to your podcasts. invite me to house parties, to your clubs. I can't do this alone. My heart is breaking, and I'm doing this. I'm putting my whole life on hold, my children on hold. There's no home cooked meal anymore, but it's still not going to be doable unless all of you and more step up.
Thank you so much for your time tonight, Karishma, to sit down and speak with us. So you heard her, everyone. She wants you to call her, beep her. She wants you to reach her. So let's get this going. If you have any sort of social media presence, platform, reach out to Karishma. Let's see if you guys can collaborate on video, if you guys are going to meet up at the next event, as we all seem to be running into each other in the same spaces. And again, thank you so much for taking the time, and I hope has a great night tonight.
Thank you so much, Melody. Thank you, everyone.
Feeling like the chief of Chave?